Hello. So today and for tomorrow and even the first part of Friday is a lot smoother of an energy than the last couple of days that we've experienced. The last couple of days have had a lot of overthinking, probably a lot of worrying. It's really important to keep in mind that there's no such thing as a bad transit. So even if we're feeling a little edgy on a particular day, it's always good to look for the opportunity, the insight, the possibilities at hand to make the most of that day, because there are great things. But that being said, there are certain energy configurations that are just smoother than others. So for today and tomorrow and the first part of Friday, we have Moon in Libra. This is extremely helpful. Okay, before I forget, and before we get into that, because there's a lot of good stuff to cover there, again, I highly recommend getting a reading if you've ever been interested in getting a reading. All the info is in the description to be able to get a reading with me, because again, I am about to move this Saturday, and it's not going to be an immediate thing, but for sure, slowly but surely, I won't even say slowly really, over the next couple months, my time and energy allotment for readings are going to be diminishing. Again, I'll always be doing astrology videos. I'll always be here. You can count on me for transit videos. You can count on me for astrology books, even though they take me forever to write because there's so much to write. But they are forming. But in any case, and I'll always be doing readings, but again, in any case, it's going to be a lot less as time goes on. So I really just want to recommend getting readings, because I will be shifting my focus more towards making music. And I'm very, very excited for this shift. Thank you for everyone who's been very supportive and positive, encouraging in the last video. I appreciate it. I've been working on songs for forever. This is a dream come true. I'm so happy. And I'm happy to do astrology too, but that music, writing songs is my full-time job, you know. So yes, very excited. But yes, so if you want to get a reading, come get a reading. I think it's segueing into the energies. I think it's especially a great time, whatever you want to talk about, it's a great time to get a reading, but I think especially when it comes to relationships, there's a lot of relationship focus really for the next several weeks that are really good to focus on. So come get a reading. It'll be good to focus on that. So yes, for the next couple of days when it comes to relationships, we have, I think, mainly two different focal points with Venus and Mars. We'll get into that in a little bit, but Sun is in Gemini, Moon is in Libra, so the ability to communicate in our relationships, to enjoy our relationships, are very present for the next 2 days. But we need to kind of handle with care, because we are handling some high octane fuel here. We have Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Aries. So on the one hand, the ability to move forward, to have fun, to encourage others, to be encouraged ourselves, and to encourage ourselves and to go forward on new adventures. You know, it's actually a really good time for that. It's awesome. But the ability to be patient is pretty challenged right now. Mars in particular, but Mars and Jupiter together in Aries, it can, that's part of it. We need to breathe. We need to make sure we're taking our time and not rushing, and making sure that we're not jumping into conflict, not jumping into war. I think part of this, especially with the Sun in Gemini, is making sure that we are not communicating too brashly, even if we're not being overtly hostile, which of course we want to always avoid. But even if we're just kind of, we're just saying something, that can really spiral very quickly. So we want to be careful of that, really for the next, I think, several weeks, easily the next 3 weeks easily. But I think especially for the next couple of days, because Moon is in Libra, especially the next 24 hours of making this video, so throughout Thursday, because Moon is opposite Mars and Jupiter, so it's triggering this. Now this can be great for being able to move forward on an issue in a relationship, or to handle a conflict, etc. But it takes patience, it takes breathing, it takes making sure that you're not getting into a fight or flight place. And if you are, pausing the conversation and coming back to it when you're more calm. It's really essential. Because it's just too easy at this time to say the wrong thing, to rush things. Yeah, and I think the other part of this kind of formula for high octane fuel that could potentially explode, but could also potentially be really helpful to get to a new place in the relationship. Or again, this could be just with our interactions with other people in general, is we have Venus conjunct Uranus and Taurus, as well as Mercury and Taurus on the wings there. So this dynamic is mainly going to play out in two different ways for people. I think most people will experience one way, but let's cover this way first. Actually, let's cover all of it in a sense. All relationships are experiencing some kind of evolution at this time. Now, some people, not most, I would say, but a lot of people are going to be experiencing ruptures in relationship. Not necessarily like an intense or dramatic rupture. It could be very peaceful, it could be very amicable, but nonetheless, it could be all of a sudden, we were growing like this and now we're growing like this. To be fair, it's probably more likely that it's been like this for a long time, and now we're just at that focal point where it's like, oh, okay, now we're definitively going into different directions. But regardless, even if it's been growing like that, it might be a little bit of a surprise, I think, for some people. So we want to keep that in mind. There's no need to overthink this or anything in astrology. So if you're like, oh God, if your relationships are good, they will continue to be good and they will evolve forward in a very cool way. We'll get into that in a moment. But I think especially if there's been issues for a while, it's really important, even if the relationship is really solid, but especially if the relationship's kind of on the rocks, you're not quite sure about it, it's really important to take your time in communicating, especially for the next couple of days, and seek to listen as well as speak, and just seek to be as peaceful as possible while still expressing all that Aries energy. We don't want to bury it, but the best way is just to go running, exercise, get it out that way. Express your sexual libido in a way that is still very healthy for you and isn't going to get you diseases or anything. That's good. It's important because it is a very impulsive energy. So if we're getting these kind of energies out in a very good way, then it's easier to talk, it's easier to listen, it's easier to calm down and to not be so intense. But yeah, I think if the relationship is a bit tricky at this time, this can be a really good opportunity to figure out, to kind of test the relationship, not in a petty way or anything like that, but to test it and see, okay, where is this at? Is this going to continue to grow with me? Is this person growing parallel with me? I always like to say, the French writer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, true love, and this could go for platonic friendship love as well. True love is not so much two people looking at each other, but two people looking off in the same direction. And when Uranus is involved with Venus, sometimes we realize, oh, maybe we were close, but we're going off in different directions. So that's good to keep in mind. But again, we don't want to give into severe anger, even if that's the case. And then the other thing is, I think most people experience, for the relationships that are very stable, very solid, there is some kind of bit of evolution that can occur at this time. And really, again, for all of this, no matter what we're experiencing with this, is the ability to communicate is there if we just take our time and breathe and prepare for it. And so I think no less cause for caution and no less patience is needed when it comes to even the relationships that, like, oh no, that's my friend or that's my partner. We're good. We've been together a long time, and I'm very, very happy with how things are going, and I can tell they are too. Even in that situation, take a breath before jumping into things. Make sure that you're really taking your time to breathe and not just saying things or doing things, because we don't want to take these things for granted. It's not to say that like the relationship will blow up with these kind of transits, but things that could be peaceful could otherwise become suddenly not very peaceful or comfortable or enjoyable, pleasant, if we are not taking this time, even with a relationship that is really solid. So let's just take our time overall. I think that's the key for the next couple of days. Enjoy our relationships. That's the important thing. And whether they're growing in this direction or that direction or whatever, let's just really pay attention to how we feel and what we're thinking and what we need, as well as what those around us are thinking and feeling and what they need. And I think it'll be a really wonderful time. Again, as always, I love doing readings, and I can't say it enough. Come get readings if you want it, because I want to make people happy. I want to help people. It's a huge part of my life, and I'm not going to be able to do it as much in the future, which is a good thing because there's other things I love doing as well. But again, just kind of last call. Yeah. Infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste.